Good morning, comic book fans. Welcome back to Comics in 5 Minutes. I'm your ever-loving host, Shorty, and yes, I did take an elf. My dog had to take a midnight trip to the vets, and I had to stay home and look after her. But what I did the day before that was read the Mandrake project, the brand new one from Bruce Dickinson, who hasn't had much comic book writing experience, but I am a fan of his. Mostly because he's the frontman for Iron Maiden, one of my all-time favourite heavy metal bands. Yes, they are heavy metal. Yes, they may disagree with that, but they're wrong. And also, the very first live gig I ever saw was Bruce Dickinson when he'd left Maiden the first time round and did the Balls to Picasso tour, and I got to see him at Bradford Rios. It was like one of those defining moments of me as a teenager, and I absolutely loved it. And I'm saying all this just so you know that when I am talking about this comic book, I'm saying an awful lot of it from a point of love, but also I am going to be criticising where it's necessary. I'm not giving him an easy pass just because I happen to really admire him as a lyricist and a singer. So, let's get on with the Mandrake project. Before we get on to the Bruce Dickinson of it all, we're going to talk about the art. A guy called Johnson, I think. I could be wrong on the names. Unfortunately, the only copy I've got is one that's sealed up because mine is at home. So I do apologise for getting people's names in this video. But the art blew my mind when I first opened this comic book. There's this wonderful, evocative scene of a British pub at night in the rain, and the lighting is fantastic. The reflection of the trees in the background on the waterlogged street, covered with drips of rain. The fact that it's three-dimensional rain, which probably doesn't mean much to many people, but I grew up with the kind of era of cartoons where the rain was just one animation cell at the front, so it never fell behind anything. Cosgrove Hall are terrible for it. So seeing people actually put effort into making rain look like it exists in the world rather than just a lens over it is really, really nice. And it is beautiful. I absolutely love this artwork. There's one minor niggle that comes a little bit later on, where we see our main character looking a little bit topless, and quite well muscled, but there's certain points where he's in positions where I don't think the muscles look quite right. Something about like where the arms join up to the chest and the neck seems to be in an odd position. I'm not sure if he's like contorting himself, but it honestly didn't look right or natural in any way, shape or form. But other than that, beautiful. Like when we're talking about the evocative nature of the British graveyard at night, which is fantastic, there's also a bit of Silicon Valley tech bro stuff going on, and all of it is very atmospheric. It all really works brilliantly. There's some supernatural hijinks, which looks fantastic, some ghostly shenanigans, all of it, every character looks brilliant. Really, really good choice for the art for this one. When it comes to the writing, though, I'm really, really glad Bruce has done what an awful lot of people should do. If they are writers, but writing comic books is not their first experience doing it, then they need to actually get a comic writer with them. If you don't, you end up being a bit of a mess. Writing even a script isn't the same as writing a comic book. There is things you need to know about the form and the medium, which if you don't know them and don't know how to use them effectively, you will come across as a little bit sophomoric. I think in the very first bit of comic writing that I'm aware of, at least, for Miss Dickinson, was when he did one of the stories in the Piece of Mind hardback, which is basically taking a song off the album and each song being an inspiration for a comic book. And Dickinson's one, there's quite a lot of just taking lyrics directly from the song, and I know this album very, very well indeed. I could sing along to every single track off it, and I don't recall that much of that happening from the other writers. He simply took inspiration from the world and the setting and the stories of these songs and made their own comic books out of them. Bruce just kind of took it a little bit more literal, and I think that is a failing which there's a little bit of in this, but it definitely is not as obvious. Might be because I'm not as familiar with the lyrics, but it's also intermingled with stuff like Blake poems and things like that, which is really effective. And speaking of Blake, this is a really big supernatural British mysticism kind of idea, and I am there for it. I get 100% that he's been influenced by at least more, maybe Morrison as well. And the mystic story is done particularly well in the fact that it's almost John Constantine-esque. Not quite, there's enough difference there that it's interesting. It's not just like feeling like a rip-off. But there's a lot of urban fantasy going on with it. But he takes it really seriously as our main character. He's a little bit po-faced about the entire thing, and sometimes the dialogue could be read as being a little bit too on the nose, a little bit too full-on esotericism, if that's the word I'm looking for. But I think it's because he feels like he needs to make a show of who he is for this, because he's sold out as well. He's working for a pharma tech bro company in Silicon Valley, and he's using his mysticism for that. So I think he has to himself prove how serious he is about it, that he isn't just a sellout, that he's got grand, lofty goals, and he's trying to do great things with it, and he's very harrowing, and he's going to be really, really goth about the entire thing. And it could have come across as bad writing. It could have just been like, this character is unbelievable in how they're vocalising their thoughts. But once you realise the story they're telling is of him selling out, it suddenly becomes way better, and we know who this guy is. It's a lovely little bit of show, don't tell. It leaves it open to interpretation, but my interpretation is he's a bit of a dickhead. but he's trying his best, and he understands he's had to take a bit of a poison pill to get to where he is right now, and he's trying to find a way to make that up to both himself and the people who might look up to him. Really, really solid start. Unfortunately, I don't know much about the plot. I think the new music video has dropped recently, which I'm going to go check out later on, which ties into it, because Dickinson is doing this as a big multimedia thing, and I am genuinely looking forward to see what happens next. I'm hoping it's going to carry on in this high-level mysticism kind of thing, in the vein of Alan Moore. I think that's going to be fantastic. That's it from me for now, though. Probably my last review of the week, so I'll see you next week, and I'm going to get through a whole bunch more. Until then, look after each other, everyone. Stay safe. Bye!